So I thought this would be a really good time of year to talk about what I have called an overly forced hobby. And it's not even just hobbies, but like, you'll see what I mean when we get into it. But this is a great time of year for this topic because you are probably getting gifts for people, or maybe you're getting gifts from people, and it's still a good topic of conversation to have. So what I am talking about is, for example, when somebody says, "Oh, I love frogs, they're super cool," and then everyone gifts that person frog stuff every single birthday, Christmas, whatever, into the rest of eternity. And it turns out that person didn't love that stuff that much. I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret. I film all these videos in like one day, and I just change my clothes either to fit what the video topic is about, or so that I know which footage goes with which video, so it's easier when I'm editing them. But like, I just change my clothes like 6 times in a day, and they're all recorded in the same day. I think one of the reasons it's really important to kind of recognize this and maybe try not to do it is it kind of makes you think of people very one-dimensionally. So this is kind of reinforcing a label on a person sometimes. So, oh, they're a geek, they're a goth, they're a nerd, they're a jock. Not necessarily even those labels, and sometimes those labels aren't bad things. Those people might even think of themselves as those things. But it's still just kind of stereotypes a person, and it just prevents you from thinking more broadly about them. And this counteracts the fact that most people think of themselves very multidimensionally. Like, I love pugs, I really do, but I also love video games, I love makeup, I enjoy sushi. Like, there's more than one facet, but a lot of times people will be like, "Oh, you know, Sue, the one who loves pugs." And again, don't get me wrong, I really do. I bought this shirt for myself forever ago. But like, there is more than one aspect to a person, or more than 2 aspects to a person. And it can be hard, especially if you don't see somebody often, like a family member or whatever, to think about them in a more complicated way. But you know that you yourself are more complicated than one thing, so you really should at least consider other people more multidimensionally. Another reason that I thought this was important to bring up is because I think it can be tough for kids. And if a kid likes Pokemon, for example, which was one of the things I loved as a kid, like, if you have a kid that loves that hobby and you just keep reinforcing it, and they're too nice or too afraid to say, "You know, Mom, I don't really love that anymore," that's another one where it just doesn't allow them to grow, and it almost kind of keeps them in this little box you have of this person is a kid. It just sort of keeps them the same age and the same personality forever. And that's not to say that they may not actually love the thing, because it's not a secret, I still love Pokemon as a grown-up. So like, it's fine, like, there's nothing inherently wrong with it. But it's good to recognize, especially in your own children, if maybe they are falling out of favor with liking something over time. You know, most girls don't play with Barbies until they're adults. If they do, that's fine, then by all means get them one. But like, don't just keep reinforcing it just because that's what you associate with that person, or because they've been very excited to get that thing in the past. I think a good example of this, and I don't mean to call anyone out, but this person's never gonna watch this. I used to have a relative that when I was a really little kid, they would buy me fine jewelry, ruby necklaces, ruby earrings, like 4 pierced ears and things like that. And I'm like 6 at the time. Like, I don't want any of that stuff. I want dolls, I want video games, you know, I want just about anything else. And then when they finally caught on that that's what I wanted, then they bought dolls for me until I was far too old for them, like 15 or so. And it was like that was the age where maybe I would have appreciated the fine jewelry more, but it's like they wanted to put me in a box when I was a certain age of, oh, you'll appreciate this and you'll appreciate it more when you're older. And of course I didn't. I'm a little kid. And then it's like, oh, well, you asked for this before. What do you mean you don't want it now? And so it kind of went both ways. And that's really tough. Like, I get it's really hard doing gifts, and it's really hard doing gifts for kids, especially nowadays with the way trends change and everything else. But I do have some tips to potentially make your gifting go that much better. So one of the first things is if you have already given a gift and it's pretty evident that the kid or person in general doesn't really like it anymore, do not get upset about it. It happens. People grow, people change, and people rebel. And, you know, just because they liked something in the past doesn't mean they will forever. Just accept it and move on. No big deal. Another thing is to, and I know this comes up a lot on a lot of gift giving channels, but like buy an experience. So take them to a museum, take them out for ice cream or to the movies, or like go do something. Go do something fun. Even ask them what they want to do, which leads into the next point. Literally just ask what they want for birthday or Christmas. Like, what are some things you want for your birthday or Christmas? And sometimes you get answers like, oh, I'd love an Xbox. And it's like, nice try, kid. But, you know, sometimes you can get a little more info and figure out, oh, well, they want an Xbox for this game and I can't afford the Xbox or the game, but maybe a t-shirt from that, or, you know, some DLC codes or something along those lines where you can still tie into the interest without even having to purchase the actual direct thing that they're asking for. And of course, one of my favorite things, and I don't do it often, I try to pick something that I know they won't want to give back, but if there's a chance, always give a gift with a receipt and don't get mad if they decide to take it back. I think the biggest thing though is to just remember that people change over time, and just because you loved something and you don't anymore, that's an excellent reminder that other people are going to probably be the same way. And some people love some things forever. Like, I live that pug life. I still love Legend of Zelda. I still love Pokemon. Like, there's some things that I have loved ever since I first fell in love with them, for years and years and years, or decades even. Zelda's been lifelong. But it's not necessarily also the only thing I want to get gifts of. No matter how much I love something, I don't always want to get gifts of it. Zelda being a good example, I don't ever want to get Zelda Monopoly or Hyrule-opoly or whatever they call it. So I think that's why it's important to really learn about a person, talk to them, and try to practice good gift-giving habits, because just blindly going with something that they've always loved is not necessarily the best course of action. So either way, I wish you a happy gift-giving season and gift-receiving season, and I'll see you guys in the next video.